Hey, I just want to have a little pep talk as your friend tonight because I want to see you win. I really want to see you win. I speak to a lot of people who are like, Phil, what's next for me? What is my purpose? And my answer is very simple. It's you are the purpose, my friend. You can't be chasing a purpose out there because that would mean that you're chasing you. You'd look like a dog chasing its own tail. You are the purpose. But there are levels to this game, right? There's a lower you that has a lot of fear. And then there's a higher you that has less fear. And an even higher you that has no fear. So let me break this down for you, okay? Please listen closely. Okay. Your truest self doesn't have fear. That truest self has everything you want and more. It's like a piñata that wants to crack open for you and bear all these gifts on you, okay? That true self can't manifest. See, it's trying to manifest. It can't manifest if you keep blocking it by feeding into your own fears. The fears block your highest self from manifesting. You understand? As long as you have fear, you're not at the higher level that has the manifestation. Okay? If you hold fear, it's like a ball and chain. And then it blocks your fearless self from shining through because you are that. It's just that you don't believe you're that because you're still feeding into the fear. Okay. Now listen very closely. This is important. Every single time you get reactive, every single time you get defensive, it can be a negative thought you have about someone. You don't even have to open up your mouth. If you have a negative thought, you're still reactive. When we get reactive, we feed into fear. And fear isn't even real. In other words, you're believing something that isn't even true. That should let you know how far you are from the highest version of you that doesn't have fear and that has everything you want in life. Do you understand? So you probably get reactive 50, 60, 70 times a day in your mind or maybe in person. You probably get defensive 50 times a day. That should let you know that there's a huge gap between this current version of you I'm speaking to and the highest version of you that is you, but you don't believe that it's you because you still believe in the fear. The fear isn't true. Now, there's one more thing I want to say. Trauma results in us acting from a place of fear. So trauma is real, but fear isn't, right? You can't heal trauma by getting mad at me. Getting mad at me isn't going to fix you, okay? So when you get mad at me, you're getting reactive, which means that you're feeding into something that isn't true, meaning you're feeding into thinking that getting mad at me is going to fix you. You may want to rewind that part because I don't even know what I just said, but it was important. Getting mad at me isn't going to fix your issue. It means you're feeding into fear. So you're feeding into something that isn't even true. The trauma is real, but you're avoiding feeling the trauma every time you get reactive and feed into something that isn't true. Your trauma is real, okay? But you're avoiding having to feel it every time you get defensive. Every time you get reactive. How do you think you transform? You think you transform by making the same old choice of getting reactive, or by feeling your feelings in order to transform into the higher version of you that doesn't have fear? If you get mad at me and you call me all kinds of names, you think that's going to make your trauma go away? No, you're avoiding having to feel what's coming up for you. So when you ask me, what's next for me? You don't think that you're avoiding a feeling behind that question? Of course you are. You're resisting where you're at. You're looking for that purpose, failing to realize you are where it's at. You are the purpose. You just don't want to feel what's coming up for you. You're trying to run to the next thing. What's next? What's next? What's next? No, you're avoiding a feeling behind that question. So you're not healing your trauma. You're getting lost in the illusion of fear. Every time you get reactive, every time you ask those questions, every time you get defensive, you're feeding into the illusion of fear as opposed to feeling your trauma, feeling your feelings. Is this making sense now? By feeding into something that isn't true, you're not your true self yet. Ooh. By feeding into something that isn't true, fear, you're not your true self yet, because that true self that has everything you want is fearless. So there's still a gap. All right? I love you guys. Sit with this for a while, play it back, but you got this.